So we're going to start with the bow of the Bermuda again. And the first thing you're going to be seeing is the, when it comes into
Video,
the
yeah.
bow
I'm
with the
making a
metal
video.
strapping. And it's right in this first viewing well again, Teresa. There it is. Again, that metal strapping protected it from any early ice in the fall, late ice in the spring, and any floating debris like we're going to see today. Next up, you're going to be seeing the tow posts like I told you about.
Look at
now,
that.
The Welland Canal is between Lakes Erie and Ontario. It's a 30-mile journey of locks to raise the lower the boat over the Niagara Escarpment. And you might know that better part of it as the Niagara Falls. Here's the forward companionway, and you can see the two metal hawseyes where the anchor chains came through. The anchor sat right here on the deck. Next, coming up, you're going to see that 3-foot hole that's in the foremast area, where the foremast was. Remember, the foremast was 110 feet long, and it was made out of white pine, and it was salvaged. They reused parts of the ship if they could, because a lot of work went into making these. Here's the smaller hole. It's 1 foot in diameter. That was the bilge hole where they would have been pumping the water that final night. And then we're coming over the forward cargo hatch. And this one is the larger of the two.
Whoa.
Now, when Captain Finney loaded this ship, he overloaded it with 488 tons. See, back then, ship captains were paid by the tonnage. So the more you put on it, the more you got paid. If you look down, there's that boom that I was talking about. They were used to break up the deck. It looks like a telephone pole structure coming out of the deck. Today, ship's captains are paid by the trip to avoid these situations. Now we're coming over the area where they broke up that deck. And they did it so they could get those divers down quickly. They could get the iron ore out quickly. They wanted to get out of here as soon as possible because the more they stayed here, the more it cost them. They needed to get that light down there, otherwise it had been totally dark. And most importantly, they need to get air hoses down there so that those hard hat divers could breathe. Remember, scuba tanks were not invented until much later. To unload and load the ship, they probably used canvas slings. They put it on there and lifted it up using a pulley system, and that's pretty much how they loaded it back then too. In fact, it took 5 guys to sail this ship, but they would hire locals for $1 a day to load and unload the ship. We're coming over the rear cargo hatch, and you can see how tiny that is in comparison. There's that port side railing I talked about that the divers popped off. It's about 50 feet long. Now we're starting to come over the cabin trunk area. Now as we go over, look down, you're going to see 2 beams down below the deck. And that's where that cabin was recessed into. It stood about 4 feet above the deck. And again, it probably popped off when the ship sank from the buildup of air pressure. There's never been any remnants found over here. Was probably used for firewood by locals way back when. Now we're coming over the aft companionway. You would have had a rudimentary ladder going down there. You would have dived down that little section, or dived under, I should say, and then came up into the cabin. And now we're going to the end of the ship, and you can see the rudder post. It's turning orange by oxidation. It's been sitting here 144 years, and here's that taft rail. The back rail of any ship.
That is 30 feet down. I don't believe.
No, they said that the boat is 5
back to the bow.
feet below the glass, but it's 30 feet of water.